Alrighty. We should be live. And there you go. Now, let's see. We have our first viewer. Thank you very much for joining me. Now let's get this closed, and we just did the ECM repair and the rent. Sure, not very exciting one though, but what are you gonna do? Whatever keeps you from being depressed, you know what I mean? Why is there warning? What is the warning? Oh, the bit rate is lower. Okay, well, I hope you guys can see. Let me pull up the chat. Do we have anything in the chat? How do I operate this actually? Where is the chat? This is my first time streaming, so this is gonna be interesting. Damn. I really need to learn this stuff. We have Arnold G. How you doing, man? Yes, this is PS5, but no, it's not for liquid metal damage or anything like that. It's for busted HDMI port. So, very simple job. Well, time consuming actually. Maybe not, yeah, not intricate, but it's very time consuming. I don't actually like doing these. But I listed the repair, the PS5 repair. Oh, come on. For what was it? Around $50, right? $50, I think, plus shipping, right? So, and so far, I've only had one customer, right? The same customer every time. I did because I listed like 10 of these, right? 10 quantity of 10. And I sold 9 so far. Yeah, it's about right, $50. Yeah, it's but it's, you know, if you consider how much time and effort it costs to just remove the board, and then game console boards are really difficult to work with because they soak a lot of heat. They require a lot of heat. You know, you need to use a little more aggressive flux with those boards. So it's a lot of work for $50, you know. But I sold about 10 or 9, this is number 9, all to the same customer. What is the matter with you, console? Why do you not want to leave? I have a little wooden hammer that I use for the stubborn ones, because sometimes they just get very sticky. This is what we call the engraver's hammer, right? Long, I don't know what this part is called, but it's pretty long. It's got counterweight, right? And this is oak, this is pine, so it's a good hammer. That should loosen it. Nope, still not. Oh my god, I hate these. Come on. Ah, that has never happened before. Normally they loose, they dislodge very easily. Oh, it kind of depends on the unit, but this one looks like it is completely stuck. Even with the hammer, it won't let loose. Sometimes there's some spillage, and it looks like this one's no different. I think the spillage was here, and it must have been something sticky, like maybe sweet tea or some. And it won't let loose. There. Okay. Finally. Yeah, there was something sticky here. Plenty of dust. Doesn't look like it has been opened before. Let's see. Well, we'll see in a second on the other side if we have the original, or not the original, if we have the seal, right? Now, actually, the main hassle with these is the number of screws. That's what makes a big difference. One over here, and one over here. Yeah. And let's get a box. Big box and a little box. Actually, typically when I open these, I put the screws in, but only those little screws. Actually, I gotta go get the drill, because I'm not gonna be doing that by hand, because it's like, I don't know, 30 screws or something. So I put only the same screws in the box, but the cover screws, I'll show you in a second. Only 2 screws on this side, right? If I remember correctly. No, was it more than 2? No, it was just 2 screws, right? And this should dislodge. Or have I been misinformed? It's been a while since I did one of these. So, oh yeah, no, it's not the screw. No, just 2 screws on this side. 1, 2. Yeah. What is that? If it was walk-in 65 to 75, no shipping cost. Yeah, that makes sense. Unfortunately, I don't get much walk-in traffic, food traffic. Aye. Okay. There you go. All right. The hardest part is over. Meaning the toughest screws. Now it's just a matter of patience. Now typically what I do, oh actually I didn't need to remove this. I'm gonna replace it because not on this side. On this side you don't have to remove this bracket over here. You do have to remove it on this side because it's hiding a screw. There. One time I sent the PS5 back to the customer without this thing. And I realized that after I already shipped it, and I just found in the box I found this bracket. I mean, it doesn't change anything. It's not like it's not gonna work, but it just looks a little off because there's like a big hole in there if this is not installed. But I guess they didn't notice because no one complained. And the important part is that the unit works, right? Now, what I used to do, I would just take a photograph to remember where all the screws go. But I don't do that anymore because I usually just remember where they go. But it looks like we have the factory seal. Yeah, this has not been opened ever. Never. Which is just as well, because it's not like I charge differently when it was worked on before. I know, because it's just HDMI port replacement, nothing more. So with these, I don't remove these screws, right? I keep them in the holes because there's like quite a few screws around here, and every single one is different. Well, maybe not every single one, but there's like 5 kinds of screws over here. So instead of remembering which one goes where, I just remove the whole plastic with the screws inside, and that's how I do it. Makes it easier. Makes it quicker. Okay, this one. I already did this one, and we need to disconnect the fan. So yeah, the reason I'm doing the stream pretty much is because I figured I'm gonna celebrate my birthday on the stream. What do you guys think? Is it super self-centered or just a little bit self-centered? I think it's just a little bit self-centered. Now, these screws I'm going to put in the separate box, and the reason for that is to make my life easier. You know, in total, how many have done of these? Maybe 15 in total. This is number 9 from Diego, my only customer for PlayStation repairs. Well, actually, I don't really repair PlayStations. I just replace HDMI ports on them. Oh, that's a lot of dust. I'm doing it by the fan. I don't want to breathe this in. It's worse than flux. You know, few of these and you feel like you worked in the mines for a few decades. And I actually come from the region of Poland where we have mines. So just mentioning that. Oh, and we need to get this one. Not this. So when I was a kid, there would be a lot of celebrations regarding we would celebrate the miners, right? The celebration was called Barburka. I don't know if they celebrate that anymore. But I guess mining is not that much of a business anymore. It's just, you know, you have to go deeper and deeper to dig out the coal, and that in turn costs a lot of money because you need to pump cool air into the mines. You need to pump air in general for ventilation and stuff. And the deeper you go, the hotter it is, so you need to cool it down even more. So it's just starting to cost more money to dig out the coal than the coal is actually worth. And since nowadays people are a little more environmentally conscious, it's not that great of a business. Alright, so I keep it like this, right? All the screws are in there, so I don't have to remember which screw goes where. And as you can see, all different sizes. So that's a little trick that I use. Alright, now just let's remove all of these. Here and here. And that actually can stay. No, we don't want this to stay. There. And actually, let's put this one back in. Click. Come on, click. Click. That was the saddest click. Alright. There. And now, what do you guys think? And normally I get the power drill or the power tool, and I use it to unscrew all these, but it makes noise. I don't know if that's not going to be too annoying, because when I record a video, then I just speed up the footage where I unscrew these, and that's fine. But that's not something that I can do on the stream, obviously. So what do you guys think? Shall we just train our fingers on 650 screws holding this device? Oh, so much dust. But that's always a good sign. I mean, it means it's been working well. Actually, with PlayStation 5s, I actually prefer PS5s because they do come with liquid metal. I don't have to do anything to the CPU. With PS4s, once I open the PS4, you know that the thermal compound is going to be crap. So you got to replace it. I mean, technically, you don't have to, because the device is here for a port replacement, right? Not the cleaning and stuff. But you can't really, you can put it back together, because yeah, you replace the port. Sure, the display now works, but the console is overheating and it's shutting down. So what kind of business is that? What kind of service is that? Obviously the customer is not going to be happy. So once you identify that the thermal paste is gunk, then you have to clean it and replace it. or at least that's how I see it. You know, you don't send the device over here for, well, you send the device because it doesn't work, right? But it's not like you just fix what the customer told you to fix. You bring it back to the, working condition. And if you have to charge more for that, then, sure, first quote the customer and say that, that there's something else wrong as well. I can do this, but if you want it to work, I also have to do a few other things, right? And this is how much it's going to cost you. That's fair. Perhaps customers don't like that. Well, nobody does, because it always feels like someone's upselling you, right? It feels like they're telling you to pay for stuff that, do you actually need it? So especially, in automotive industry. You bring the car to the mechanic and they tell you that, this and that and that and that as well, and that's going to cost you $2,500. But hey, I just wanted an oil change. $2,500 for oil change. And it's not like you can easily verify that. And, it's not like every mechanic is incompetent, but there are plenty of less competent mechanics, right? And they also have the incentive to upsell you on stuff, because they're in a crappy position as well. If you're paying $2,500 for a maintenance work on your car, you better believe the mechanic is not gonna even see 20% of that. Or if the mechanic sees 20% of that, that's a big success. But normally, not only they get really crappy money, but also if there's anything wrong after the repair and you bring the car back, because it's warranty, right? And you would expect that the rich dealership is going to pay for that warranty, right? That they're going to do the work and pay the mechanic to fix whatever, right? No, not only they take a big chunk of your money, but if the car comes back, you have to fix it on your own time. You don't get paid for that. It's crazy. So yeah, definitely whenever you want to complain about the mechanics, just keep in mind that their life is not that easy either. And it's always the best to just know a mechanic, right? Just go to a few small mechanics, small shops around your area and find the one that you like, one that is respectful, that does a good job as far as you know, right? And stick with them, because every shop is gonna treat repeat customers better than just random walking customers, right? Because that's the repeat business is the best business. So everybody wants repeat business in this profession. Make sure you didn't forget any screws, ref. Come on. No. Okay. Yeah, because one time I was pulling on it and pulling and it wouldn't let loose, and then I realized that there was one more screw somewhere. There you go. All right, looking good. Okay, now I have a picture somewhere of where those screws all go, so I may need to refer to that picture actually. because it's been a while, and now I'm just looking at it, and no, I'm not gonna remember that. One time I put it all together and I forgot to connect this cable. This is for the buttons and I think the USB port or whatever, and I had to disassemble it all over again, but because this is underneath that plate, that aluminum plate, right? So if you forgot to connect this and you reassembled all of that, then again you have to unscrew all these 60 screws around here to get the plate off, to reattach it. So ever since then I always remember to do this. And actually, since most of the stuff that we are aware of what not to do is because we did it before, right? Recently, I don't know if you guys seen that, but the last board I was doing a socket replacement on, I forgot to remove the battery. And normally it's not a problem, because the battery is located kind of far from the socket, so normally it doesn't matter. But on this one, the battery was pretty close to the socket, and that little guy exploded on me, scared the crap out of me. I thought it was the cop, but it was a pretty solid explosion. Relatively loud. Louder than what the cops do. Although cops can explode pretty loudly as well. Spudger. All the screws. Okay, should be good. CPU, all of that. So let's start pulling. No. And there we go. All right, we got the board out. I would like to say that the hardest part is over, but actually disassembly and reassembly is not that bad. The bad part is the actual port replacement. You guys, you guys want to see the port? That is, come on. Gonna be hard to show you. Come on. See that? Completely torn apart. It completely separated those two. Damn. That's probably the worst I've seen. Normally it's just a few pins mangled and that kind of stuff. But this one, take a look. Damn, someone was really struggling to put this on. Yeah, but that's typical. Those HDMI ports. They should just replace them with USB-C, in my view, because it's a lot more reliable. And USB-C can be put in two different directions. But this is obviously something that's going to be operated by a kid, excited kid. So yeah, they're not gonna have a respect for the device. They're just gonna try put it this way. It doesn't fit. Let's put it this way. And in this port, pretty much any port, you have to put a little bit of force to plug it in, right? So it's kind of like we're setting our kids for failure with this design. But in all fairness, it could have been worse, because back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, those devices would come with cables permanently attached to the device. So that was fun. Yes, it is. It is my birthday stream. Yes, I just turned 18. If you believe that. You probably don't, and you shouldn't, but what difference does it make, huh? Whether I'm 18 or a little older. I can legally drink, I can tell you that. All right, let's okay, first let's preheat it a little. Make it nice and warm. I will see if I'll try to use my flux on it, but probably my flux is not gonna perform well on this, because I tried it before and it didn't perform very well because of the temperature, right? But we'll see. Maybe I'll try. I will try. Then once I preheat it, then I'll put some leaded solder on this, then wick it, and then desolder the port. I know some people do it with just heating from the bottom, right? Lift the port, put the new port on, and you're done. But I was never able to pull that off. So I prefer to just do it my way. Alright, so that is preheated slightly. Now, what's my tip? That'll do. Let's do 385. High temperature on the iron. And let's put some leaded solder here. See? It's not melting. Yeah. These boards are ridiculous. Look at that. The solder doesn't want to flow. And that's with preheating. Yeah. Well, they have to make them that way because otherwise your console wouldn't be working properly. It needs to dissipate heat really, really well. Okay, just a little bit of solder here and there, and then I'm gonna blow some hot. Oh, this one actually, look, this one's flowing. Nice. And this one, come on, little buddy. Soak that. Oh, this one's soaking nice. So that's weird. This side is flowing nicely. This side doesn't want to flow. Oh no, now it's flowing. There you go. Okay, that's what I want to see. We could use low melt solder, but we don't have one. So we're gonna have to do with this. Okay, there. Now it's flowing. Now I know some people also put leaded solder on the port before they desolder it. But those pins, I don't know. Those pins are tiny. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Let's see, who do we have here? Ross Repairs. Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you. Arnold G, just kidding, you 5 less than me. Okay. Well, allegedly. I add solder to the pins to hold heat longer. Stays Few seconds more, stays melted. The HDMI pins also, right. Increase pen temp 10 at least. What do I, so 295 or 395? It's a little excessive, because what I worried is that my my tips are not going to survive much when I treat them with such high temperature. So that's the reason I prefer to use the lower temperature, or as low of the temperature as I can. Now let's grab some crappy wick, but actually I'm gonna use different crappy wick. Let's use even crappier wick, a medium crappiness. Not the high crappiness, the medium crappiness of the wick. Then let's give it a little more heat again, because I kept talking and my board cooled down. And let's see, is it gonna soak? Yeah, that looks good. I don't need to remove the solder, like all of it. I just want to remove the majority of it before I start heating from the other side. And on this one, let's make sure we don't remove the diode, because I don't have the replacement if we lose it. And start soaking. Come on. Come on. Oh! See, don't put pressure. Don't put pressure, or this will happen. Again. Okay, it's flowing. It is flowing, but the diode, come on, don't lose the diode. Almost good. The other side went better than this one. For some reason, it's because of the diode, because I need to be careful not to remove that diode. Come on, is it gonna flow by itself with no hot air? Probably not. Yeah, because it's mainly just the lead-free solder that left behind. So let's try this with not much pressure. There, yeah, it's flowing pretty quickly. I smell something burning. It's probably the HDMI port. Yeah, I think there's a little melting over there. I'm using 380 on the hot air. And looks like we even put a little bit of solder over here. That sometimes happens. What are you gonna do? Member Rossi Ross Repairs, welcome to BHR members. Thank you very much. There is so far one video for members only, a walkthrough of my shop and some of my side projects and stuff like that, if you're interested. And I'm gonna be making a little more of the stuff for the members. No worries. There will be some incentive to join, but that will still be a little, well, we'll see. I'll record something soon. I was thinking of taking a little drive with the camera. The cup. Okay, so I usually check if the cup is there before I start, because this cup will very likely be removed. Meaning, you know, I will likely lose it, which is not a big deal because it will still work. I lost it on few units and I haven't heard anything regarding that there were any issues. But if the manufacturer decided that they're gonna put that cap, and you know the manufacturers, they always want to cut on costs and stuff, so if the manufacturer says that it's got to be there, then yeah, it's probably probably needed for something. So you probably don't want to lose it, but if it happens, it happens. What do we have? No need for braid. Sure. I just that's how I do it, you know. On the I want the solder on the other side to be mainly removed, right? So it doesn't hold. That way I don't have to heat it up too much, right? I just need to dislodge the pins over here, and that's how I do it. But yeah, I agree. You don't need to braid it. Yo, Uber, Arnold, yay! We have the gang. JFix, how you doing, man? Uber Micro Repairs. Header only 450. See 50%. Job done. Right. Yes, I will have to increase the temperature to 430. It shouldn't be 50%. Well, I got a gauge in like liters per minute. So I'm gonna do 95. So that's gonna do as well. I do 420 header, Arnold G. Yeah. Pen header, add solder again, header it off. Chaz Sexton, I am with Uber. 380 is a little low. 450 will have it off in no time. Correct, I agree. Those boards can take crazy amount of heat. Yes, unfortunately they can. I use your overlay for the Awan meter. I figure I owe you something for it. No, you don't owe me anything for it, but thank you, much appreciated. Let me know. I'm gonna be launching another product pretty soon. If you do any business on eBay, right, selling and stuff like that, then you're gonna love that product, and I'll get you a good deal. No worries. It's not gonna be expensive, but I'm gonna have to start making some money off of it, you know. Add solder to the 4 pins and HDMI pins and a touch of flux. I add a touch of flux. Normally I don't, but in this case I figured, yeah, why the hell not? Oh, and forget. Come on. Got a little distracted, I guess. Forgot to remove the nozzle from there. Because with the nozzle, especially a small nozzle like this one, you can still get it done, sure, but you know, it's you have to keep blowing, like, you know, around it and keep moving and stuff. Nah, it's better to just remove the nozzle and blow without the nozzle whatsoever. Okay, heating has started. How long do you guys think? On 95, I got 430. Typically I use a little higher airflow, but we'll see. Oh, the port's already melted when I was wicking the other side. But I think it changes the math a lot when you wick the pins on the other side. And I probably will increase the airflow because this is not gonna be easy. Yeah, and let's not overheat the tweezers, and let's do 120 airflow. That should get it done quickly. Come on. Come on. I'm gonna be heating it up until I see the solder on the over here starting to melt. Once that is achieved, the port should be ready to be lifted. That's why I wick it on the other side. Because then if it's melting on this side, then it's ready to be replaced or to be removed. It's taking its sweet time, for sure. We'll see how well this will go, because last time I was doing it, I don't know, a few months ago, and for the life of me, I couldn't resolder the port. It kept making bridges and like, oh my god, I don't know what was wrong there. Maybe it just wasn't my day. I don't know. It happens, right? So we'll see how well this will go. But sometimes it's just not your day, and I think, because I just pushed through, right? I just kept doing it. I ruined two ports. Two ports I melted, well, not melted, but, you know, I just removed the port and tried with another one. Then again, removed the port and tried with another one. So I just kind of pushed through it and got it done. But what I should have done was just to step away and, you know, just accept that today is not my day. Sometimes it isn't, and you just have to live with that. Because if you do push through, then, you know, I lost a few ports, and if you charge $50 for the replacement, you know, port is like $5 each. So, I don't know. Okay, so I think you were right about 450. I think we gotta go to 450 because it's not budging at 430. I could put some more solder on this side, the leaded solder, to kind of help it a bit, but this will work. I know it will, it just takes time. Oh, but it's holding strong. Very strong. $480. Now it should let loose pretty quickly. Nope. What a stubborn little thing. Come on, don't do this to me. My whole mat just deformed from the heat, and it's still not letting loose. I have to move it a bit because I didn't prep for it properly. Because this is wooden desk, right? So I don't wanna burn it. And the mat already deformed significantly. There. Okay. There. Okay. Damn. That's why I don't like this job. Because it always takes a little bit longer than you would like it. So now, the worst part. And it's the worst part because cleaning those little holes is not that easy. Unless you guys have any suggestions. So either I use solder sucker or wicking or both for this. Right. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes it's awful. Sometimes wicking alone and it's nice and clean. And sometimes just a little speck of the solder stays in the hole and it won't budge. And if there's any solder left in that hole, the port alignment is really difficult. Okay, and now let's see if this will work. I want to do it quickly while the board is hot, so I'll check on the chat in a second. Come on. Now let's go back to 380 and at 95. Yeah, because without hot air this will not work. There's just not enough power in the soldering iron alone to make this solder flow. Come on. Yeah, sometimes with wicking alone you get the clean hole, but not always. And not in this case either. Let's do this. Come on. There, and flow, solder, flow, as I command you. All this too. Yeah. Almost. Almost. I think one is, yeah, one, look at that. This one cleaned perfectly with just wicking. No solder sucker, no nothing. But with solder sucker, another problem that we have is not to move components around, not to lose the caps, diodes and stuff like that, which can also be rather challenging. I also have a desoldering gun, which I almost never use because it takes forever to heat it up, and I just figure usually I just either use solder sucker or wick, and that's quicker, easier. Are you flowing, solder? Are you flowing? No, we are not flowing. No, and this one's gonna be problematic. Yeah. Now the question is there any leaded solder or a lead-free solder left in that hole? Because if there is, then that's gonna be difficult to remove. And it's not like you can heat it up to the proper temperature for solder sucker, right? Because one hand is occupied by the sucker, right? The other hand, soldering iron, right? So there's no way to blow hot air on it. So that's the challenge of this. But with the braid over here, if I just do this, I can blow hot air on it and until it flows. And usually it works, but not always. Sometimes it's really stubborn, just like this one. This one is super stubborn. Oh no, did we get it? Yeah, I think we got it. All right, yay. Okay, 2 holes are clean. 2 holes to go. Now I'm actually not sure. Is this still? Yeah, there's plenty of solder here and plenty of solder here. All right. Let's try a little more. In case you're wondering what is this awesome flux that I'm using, the link is in the description. 12 bucks a tube, 10 cc, a little more than 10 cc actually. Plus shipping. I use it, I recommend it. As you can see, it's not as great as Alex's flux is, but it works. And it's fully organic. As you can see, I don't even use this what do you call it, fume extractor. It smells good. All organic, natural ingredients. I don't know if I got the other hole, but let's try this one now. And flow. Flow as I command you. Well, I think we got it. Alright, but did I get this one? Is there just gunk left in there, or Is it? No, there's still solder in there. But I think I need to get it from the other side. Something tells me. Plus, on this side I have the diode, so I prefer to do it on the other side. But sometimes you just gotta do it from both sides, no way around it. I mean, if you do it this way, because you can just use solder sucker or the soldering gun. I've seen people also use the opposite of solder sucker. Basically, you take the compressed air, right? You heat it up with the heat gun, and you just quickly blow into the hole, and the solder just leaves the hole. And that's also an option. I've never tried that, but essentially it works the same as solder sucker, just in the opposite direction. So it should work pretty well, or it should work in general. Okay, and flow. You don't want to flow? It's stubborn. It's one stubborn hole. It's always the last one, right? Okay, like this. So we reach into the hole a little bit, and it should soak all that solder from underneath. At least that is the theory. Come on. Aye. Almost. We're very close. Or is it done? Oh, maybe it's good. Yeah, maybe it's good. But, as I said, it needs to be super clean, because if it's not, then you can't align the port properly. And then that's a pain. Now, I don't like using toothbrush on this one, because every time I use toothbrush, you know, throughout the whole process, I watch this cup, right? So I don't lose it. Then, I'm almost done. I get the toothbrush to clean the flux and stuff. And after cleaning, I look at it and whoop, the cup is gone. So I prefer to use Q-tip, which is a pain because, you know, with Q-tip, you gotta spend a little more time cleaning. And I forgot to wick the pads over here, but that's fine. I'll do it in a second. I probably should change the tip on the iron, because I'm using the most inadequate tip for wicking. But the reason I'm using the bent tip for this is I find it easier to clean the holes, these holes. But for wicking the board, and obviously the bent tip is not adequate. It's just not enough temperature transfer. It's not capable to transfer enough energy to the board, especially when we're talking about game consoles. And these are the ones that really want to soak that heat and dissipate it really quickly. There, let's see what we got. More other tech. I need to move the camera because the camera is right on my chat, but probably not there. Okay, I gotta figure out this camera because I can't read the chat. Just a sec, because I want to finish cleaning while the board is super hot still, because that's a lot easier, at least with my flax. I know Alex's flax is easier to clean than mine. I'll give it a try. It's not like I don't know. I just don't really need it, and you know, my incentive is different when I pick my flax. I want to be able to work without a fume extractor and know that I'm not breathing in any nasty chemicals. I know what's in my flax. It's just 3 ingredients, you know. So that's how I like it. But I do recognize that, you know, there are pros and cons to both of these. All right. And cleaning is definitely a little more difficult on mine, especially when you burn it like this, right? Because I totally overheated it. And it's NC, so technically you don't have to clean it, but it just looks awful. I don't like when it looks like that. All right, that will do for now, because I'll have to clean it a little more. There. I use hot air and solder sucker. Works fine. Yep, it does. I cut tip, angled, and insert, and hot air 30 seconds and done. Yeah, that will work too. Good idea. Alex Flax is good for reball and sockets till it hardens. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Mine's pretty. I do, you know, socket replacements with mine. It works pretty well. I'm not complaining. No bubbling on his flax. Keeps chip from floating bubbly. I mean, it depends on how much flax you use. It's gonna, every flax is gonna do some bubbling, and his flax is gonna do some bubbling as well. If for BGA work, you just have to know how much of that flax to put on. BH, do you have a video going over how to add a second thermocouple to IR6500? I have not been able to find one. You mentioned it in your video, Windows 11 mod, but don't go over it. Thank you. Yes. Do you want a link? No, actually, in my library, you can just look for Windows 11. There should be 2 videos. One is the Windows 11 mod, and the other one is Windows 11 mod, the older one, plus a second thermocouple. So part of that video is I show you exactly where to connect it, orientation, and all of that. But just remind me, and I'll send you a link. But you can easily find it searching for Windows 11 as a keyword. Let's see. Yeah, thin layer is trick. Yeah. I also plan on buying a software. It looks awesome. Chaz. Yes, sir. It is awesome. I agree. I concur. It took me 6 months to develop it. And I say it's the best software out there. You know? For at least for PC 410 controllers. Because obviously, you know, more professional. My hand is too wet now. You know, those professional softwares, then you know, they work differently, right? But you need a professional machine and stuff. But if you have PC 410 controller, you're not going to find anything better than Rework Pro. you're gonna find there's like 2 or 3 other software solutions, out of which one is mine. So you have, Rework Pro, you have my free software, you have the original one from the the manufacturer with some bugs and backdoors or whatever. The antivirus really doesn't like that one. And you have the fourth one, which is made also by a Polish engineer. And you can't really, I don't think they maintain it anymore. There are no updates or anything like that. I don't know if they even sell it anymore, but you can find it. A lot of people have the copy and the serial number that you can use. There's no activation or anything like that, so you can use it, and some people do use it, but I say mine is very superior to any competition you might find. And in addition, you get access to the community, so you can download the profiles on demand. You can upload profiles, all that stuff. That's what I use, and I don't need anything better. And I have ideas regarding the new features. They are coming. Probably not anytime soon, because I'm still working on the eBay software that I've been working on for like a month now, at least active development, because conceptually I've been working on it for quite a while, few months, but I started actually developing it relatively recently. Okay, I forgot to wick it again. Started rambling too much. And those guys outside mowing the lawn are killing me. Why do you use such huge machines for this? It's like, is it even worth it? How much money do they charge for it? Those machines probably consume gallons of gasoline for every hour of work. All right, now let's see what we have. Would we need to set side cam aimed at solder balls and have AI detect melt and changes temp lower? Okay, I guess that's an idea. The main benefit of that idea is that nowadays you slap AI on anything and it's easier to sell because it's AI. Although this is going away. This is going away pretty soon. The bubble is bursting. Finally. So it's not gonna be like that for much longer, but yeah. There are plenty of uses to AI. It doesn't mean that AI can be used for absolutely everything, and that's what we do nowadays. Everything needs to be AI. And in many cases I would prefer the sound, the chat, I got too distracted. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh right, that in many cases I just want the algorithmic solution to my problems because they're more reliable. Not everything, or maybe more adequately, neural networks can solve the problems that algorithms cannot, and that has always been true, right? Text recognition, for example. Can you solve it algorithmically? Yeah, you can solve it algorithmically if your software is reading printed text. But if you want to read a handwritten text, it's very hard to solve algorithmically. And to solve it reliably, it's almost impossible. Oh, look at that. It's fitting perfectly. Nice. So you know what I will do? I'm gonna try. What do you guys think? Because I've never tried that before, but I know some people do it that way. Put some solder on the pins, on the pods, and then put the port on, blow some hot air on it, and let it solder on, and then solder on the ground. What do you guys think? Is that gonna work? I've never tried that before. That's how you do it, Arnold. All right, then let's try it. It's good enough for me. If Arnold agrees, well, let's do it. But first, preheat the board for good wicking. Or for, as you can see, it wicked pretty nicely. So I don't know why I struggled. Maybe the first batch of my flux was just crappy. I don't know. But I remember struggling that I couldn't even wick it with my flux. I had to use king bow, which I would like to avoid using. But this time it wicked really cleanly, and we'll see how well it will tin, if we can even tin it at all. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Suck it, King Bow, and any other flux, without naming any particular manufacturers of it. Look at that. Perfect. Alright, so that's gonna save me a lot of time if this works. Because normally the most time that I spend on it is to make sure that all the pins are soldered and there are no bridges around, right? So first, first I need to solder each pin individually, then go through each pin with the tweezers. Then if one of the pins is still loose, then I have to resolder it. Then I have to go with the multimeter and check each pair to make sure there are no bridges. And usually when the bridges do form, they form at the back, so underneath the port. So yeah. Okay, so now let's see. So how I like to do it is to tilt the board like this so I can look at the pins. Oh, they're aligning beautifully. So let's put something here. And the other thing, do not touch the CPU so you don't get liquid metal on you. And it's not even the problem getting liquid metal on you. You don't want to remove the liquid metal from from the CPU. All right, let's see. AI captured that hey, part people said he might send 15R3 for CPU replace with spare board. Yeah, bring it in. I'll be glad to do it. But I think it's a little old to waste time on. Not with Windows 11 6th gen. Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna do it. I like doing BGA. I press on top, I hover under. Will still need pen to end though. Don't melt the port, hover top. Right. Yeah, I guess. Well, that changes stuff. That kind of changes stuff. Because so how do I heat it from the bottom? Yeah, because good point. I would if I use high temperature from the top, I'm just gonna melt the port. Or I can just do it the way I always do it and just, you know, just solder it pin by pin like I always do. Which is a pain, but what are you gonna do? Okay, but we need focus on this. Mr. Microscope there. Okay, let's see this. Let's just warm up the pins over here. What's my temperature? 385. That's a pretty high temperature. No flux, but I want to see what I'm doing. I probably should have preheated the board first. We'll see how many will heat up, how many will solder on, how many will not, and we'll go from there. Now the worst part, the cap. Do it without disturbing the cap. There. Yeah. Well, let's see. Is there even one that's going to be soldered on correctly? Oh, this one's solid. This one's not. This one's solid. This one's solid. This one's not. Okay, so some of them, this one's not. Some of them soldered on. This one is not. This one is okay. Yeah, so this works. It's just now the matter of preheating it a bit and putting some flux, because without flux it's not gonna work. Although it did, so few pins did solder on, so it's good. Because at least, you know, that might require a little more effort, sure, but at least you're not risking bridges, and that's my main concern, because I hate when I do the bridge. Too hot, too hot. There. Okay, that doesn't look great, but is it solid? Okay, we gotta move a little further here to catch good light. There. And let's see, so this one's solid, this one is solid, 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 solid. Oh, this one's not. What is that, a ground pin or something? Why did it not solder on? Solid, 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 and solid, and solid, and solid. Okay. That was quick and painless. Now, I don't think I would make any bridges with this technique, but just to be sure. Yeah, I wouldn't expect any bridges here, because yeah. Oh. So normally it takes me a little longer than this, because I put it on a clean board, right? Then I put solder on the board once I already placed the port on. But this technique appears to be working a lot better. So now I'm going to be using this. So thank you, Arnold. Much appreciated. Now, so normally I would preheat it first before doing this, but what I fear is that if I preheat the board, you know what's going to happen. The solder on the other side is going to loosen and the port is going to fall off. So first I want to tack it a little bit. And then I'll preheat it or something. Yeah, this is... Okay, it's not flowing to the board because the board's not hot enough, but it's tagged. Now this one, come on. Come on, just so you hold at least. Come on, come on. Oh, we got it. All right. Then this guy, without removing the diode. Come on, little buddy. There you go. You're almost there. Look at that. It's melting. Very slowly, but it's melting. Look at that. Huh. Nice. Okay. Let's give it a little flux. Here. That should do it. And all right. Then, yeah, it looks crappy, but no worries. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Some more flux. And there. And let's add a little more so it holds nicely. Go. But this will work. And this side, same thing. Okay, and that should do it. Ooh. What time we got? Oh, time is flying. How long have we been live? I don't know where the timer is. I'm new to streaming, guys, so you have to be patient with me. But I'm gonna have to go pick up my son from school, so I do have a hard stop, but not for a little while still. And I'll take maybe a little smoke break. What do you think? Okay. Well, you want the solder to be smooth and shiny, right? It doesn't look like it was overheated. I put a little bit too much on this side. This side looks pretty good. But I've seen a lot worse. Not done by me. I mean, I've done worse too, but I've seen other shops doing a lot worse, or looking, at least, you know, visually, just worse. It still worked, right? That's the important part. But I've seen worse, so. Oh. There. Okay, this side looks good. Just need to clean it more. What do we have in chat? Awake. Don't mind bridges. I do witch it too much. Oh, wake it too much. Right. Yeah. That's how I usually get rid of the bridges. But sometimes the bridge is like super in the back, like almost underneath the socket, and even wake won't get that. Other helps. 95 minimum. I mean 95 liters per minute. Yes. Rossi, you're doing great. Thank you, Rossi. Take into ice cream or Polish food pickup. Yeah. Plumber's flag special. What do you mean? Yeah, I can make you some plumber's flags, sure. This would not be great for plumbing, but I can make you some plumber's flags. You know what you use for that? Pretty much the ingredients are almost the same, but you put citric acid. You can also use the natural emulsifier, which is basically egg yolk. But if you use egg yolk, you have to also put a little bit of vinegar in the flax. Otherwise, it's just gonna, the shelf life is gonna be a few days. Yeah, I learned a lot of when it comes to those natural, concoctions, chemical concoctions. I learned a lot from my father. So I do like pretty much all the chemicals that I need. I just make myself, like wood polish or like wood preservative, right? Like a lacquer basically, or the actual polish where you just want to, polish your floors, right? You say you have wooden floors and you want them to be nice and shiny. I make that myself as well. Like either a paste or a gel for polishing. Flags, depending on what flags I need. I have some aggressive flags, and I was actually thinking that I will use it in this case, but I didn't have to. And I didn't have to use Kingbow flags, which is awesome, because that means my flags can be used, as you can see, right? And no cheating, because this isn't a recording, right? So it's not like I use different flags and cut the footage. So as you can see, it can be used for PlayStation boards, which are notorious for being difficult to solder. So I say that's a good success. I say it's all right. Now the question is, am I gonna lose the cup now, right? It's usually at this point, right? I want to clean it really well, but it's not cleaning that well. So I grab a toothbrush, I start brushing, and the cup is gone. Which is especially frustrating because throughout the entire process, you kept an eye on that flag, on that cap. You made sure you didn't lose it, and then right at the home stretch, you lose the cup. Oh, now the leaf blowers. You guys hear the leaf blowers? If not, it's gonna get louder in a minute. What's today? Thursday? Yeah, they usually do that on Thursdays. Well, it's an NC flag, so I don't have to clean it. I'm just doing it so it looks better. That's it. No other reason for this. It's not gonna corrode, it's not gonna do anything. It's not conductive, it's not corrosive. Okay, I think this looks good. This was pretty easy. Let's see, what do we have here? Plumbers, yeah. Adam and IT did a PS5 HDMI. Someone tried plumber's flux and corroded it bad. Yeah, yeah. That's why, you know, I can make you a plumber's flux, but by adding corrosive substances. That's why this flux is not good for plumbing, because it's not aggressive enough. For plumbing, you want a seriously aggressive flux. Okay, let's take a look at the port we just replaced. Oh, well, there's only two pins that were dislodged. So most likely the cable is done as well. I need to remind the customer, to remind his customer to replace the cable and not use the cable that was used with this. But damn. Oh, but that's what happens to those ports. It's basically when you plug it in the different orientation or the wrong orientation. Okay, one last look. I did some melting there. Let's see. You see that little tiny melting? But that's fine, as long as it's connected, and it looks, yeah, soldering looks good. No bridges, no nothing. Should be good. Alright, time for reassembly. I guess we're gonna finish it all the way. That is the worst part of it, is that you have to reassemble it to actually test it. I mean, you can use those HDMI testers, right, for static analysis of the port. But static analysis, not always reliable. Right, because static analysis will tell you that it is connected, right? There are no bridges, the voltage drops are correct. But I mean, it's better than nothing for sure. I probably should get one of these. But the way I do it, I just reassemble it and hope for the best. One time I did have this was not my first time, obviously. So I got a bit too much of a confidence, and I did the whole procedure. I actually have a video of that. It's probably a couple years ago. And I did the whole thing. I reassembled, I started the unit, and no image. And then I had to go through the entire thing again. So disassemble the whole the device, remove the board, and grab the multimeter, and guess what? There were bridges. So now I always check for bridges. I give it a good visual because I don't have a tester to give me an idea whether it's gonna work or not. So the only thing I can do is just reassemble it and see if it works. But that takes a lot of time. Whose hair is it? I think it's my wife's hair. Or, yeah, most likely. I didn't see it in the device, so definitely it's not the customer's hair or my customer's customer, because we're doing it for the other shop. Oh, don't tell me I did that. Okay, again, no cheating, because the cable for the front panel is underneath the board now. So I could try just pulling it out without lifting the board, but you can do more harm than actually, you're trying to save a few minutes or a few seconds even on removing the board again. And come on, there, yeah, there. Okay, now it's good. Now it is good, and get the little cable over here. This one. Oh, I saved the antennae for the dessert, because I like to put them on under the microscope, because they can be a pain, and you can also do some damage, because what you have to do is you have to align it properly and press on it, right? Sure. But if it's not properly aligned and you press on it, you can break the board, you can break the cable. In either case, it's a pain. So let's not break anything on this one. I mean, it hasn't happened to me on PlayStations, but it did happen on other devices. So since then, I just keep an eye on it. And click. Did it click? I didn't hear it click, but it looks like it's there. It's there. I didn't hear the click. Now, 2 screws, right? One here and crap, and one here, I think. Yeah. 2 screws. There you go, and wir eins. And come on. And 5 over here. And I think these were the only ones, or is there the plastic one? Did it go before or after the plate? Well, I guess we'll find out. Now, the idea is that you have no screws left behind, much like in the military. But, I don't know. You know how it is. Do you? Sometimes you do miss a screw here and there, and it's not like the device is not going to work. You know? Just one little tiny screw left. It happens. I mean, I prefer it doesn't happen, but sometimes I just allow that it does happen. Okay, now, yeah, I'm gonna refer to the picture, and the reason is because there's 1, 2, 3 screws that you have to not put on. Because if you do, you won't be able to place the plastic top, because it won't fit. And And now it's good if you remember which ones those are, but I don't. So let's go to trash. And I had a picture here somewhere. Or not. Yeah, there it is. PS5. There. And I have a little photograph over here that will assist me. I mean, the way to kind of cheat that is you can put the plastic here and see where the screws go. Right? So, this one was the plastic one, so let's start with this one. Come on. Yeah. Oh, this is different. Yeah, this is a different one. Yeah, I forgot. But the screws should be the same. Yeah, the screws should be the same. So we're gonna be missing these two. No, this one. We'll see. It's a little bit different design. So on some of these, I don't know why it varies, but this aluminum is two components, right? And there's a heat pipe going on top of the unit. So we'll see. We'll see. If I run out of screws, that means I put too many. So that should be fine. Yeah. It's too bad though, because the front, I guess I should have taken the picture, but we'll figure it out. All right, let's see, what do we have on the chat? Let's put the camera like this. What do you think? I don't know. It'll work, right? Because that way I can see the chat, because it's kind of annoying because the camera is right on top of the chat. I didn't think that through. Let's see. LOL JFix, that one was funny. It eats that copper, makes a huge mess. I saw it in another video. Yeah, the corrosiveness of flux can be significant. Drop alcohol there, let it sit 2 minutes, then wipe. Might need to brush, but first tap the cup with tweezers to check if sturdy. What are we talking about here? That anchor could use a flow further, not fully filled. Can be better than factory if you use the best flux in the world, the NF flux. Yes, I will maybe one day graduate to NF that flux. Maybe. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, Alessandro. Much appreciated. Yes, I just turned 18. I can legally drink beer now. Not in the United States, though. Someone said Nathan Honey from Dominican Republic. He thought it was bourbon when he opened it. Yeah, I hear he's a bourbon man. I myself, I don't drink liquor. And when I do, I used to like whiskey, not so much. Brandy was my drink, but actually not. Well, it's considered brandy, but it's called metaxa. It's made out of It's made out of raisins. It's very sweet. It gives you nasty hangover. You can drink like maybe 2 glasses of that and be functional the next day. If you go anywhere above that, the next day is just awful. So that's one of the reasons I don't touch liquor anymore. I'm just I'm too old for hangovers. Way too old for hangovers. And even older today. But yeah, that was my drink. And when I do drink, I drink beer. I like Heineken and Dos Equis. Because Heineken is it's not considered strong beer, because it's not like the IPAs and stuff. I used to drink IPAs, but that gives me even a nastier hangover than any liquor would ever. So yeah, I don't touch IPAs anymore either. Maybe on special occasions. But for my birthday, I'm gonna do Heineken and Dos Equis. Because Dos Equis, I can, still I can't drink too much of it either. But Dos Equis is really, really light lager, so I can drink, a 6-pack of Dos Equis and not even be buzzed, which I like. But if I drink 6-pack of Heineken, I would be drunk. So no. And actually I don't mind, what I mind the most, because not only you can't really do much when you're drunk, especially this kind of work, right? You wouldn't be able to do it drunk, or at least not well. So you lose a lot of time, you can't do anything. But then, the next day, if you wake up with a hangover, that's even worse. So there's nothing, you lose the afternoon or evening of the previous day, and then you lose the majority of the next day, if not the entire day, due to hangover. So it's a big time commitment. So just not worth it anymore. We're not getting any younger, is my point. And bourbon, I think you need to have a special palate for bourbon. I had a friend, I still do, but we just not so much in touch anymore. He's is from UK. We met in Poland. We worked for the same company. This one, I don't know if this one goes here. He was a bourbon drinker. So I tried some. I don't know. We had a shot of bourbon at some point, some where, and no, it didn't really agree with me too much. Not that much. Heineken always gave me headaches. Yeah. If you go too much on Heineken, yes, it will sting the next day. So yeah, don't couple Heinekens, and that's why I like to mix it up. I'll have couple Heinekens and a few Dos Equis, because they just kind of dilute that. They say you shouldn't be mixing drinks and stuff, but if you don't abuse drinking, it should be fine, right? But yeah, it can sting the next day. I like Żubr, JFix. Żubr, yes. Żubr, not my favorite. What was my favorite? Tyskie, Okocim, Żywiec, yeah, I used to drink żubr. They also have żubrówka, the vodka with that little grass in there. And that makes it, it makes yeah, I kept talking to myself, huh? How long was I off? There is no time on the chat. Mike died. Mute. Yes, Houston, we have a problem. Can you hear me, mate? Tom. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Quick thinking. Thank you for telling me. So, I don't know what was I? 3 minutes, no mic. 4 minutes. Yeah, we need the recap on them. Last we heard was vodka. Vodka, yeah. I don't drink vodka anymore, but when I do, it's Tito's. Tito's vodka doesn't give you hangover, at least not serious one. I mean, if you drink too much of it, then yeah. The Heineken and stuff, yeah, that's my beer, Heineken. And I was just saying that it tastes different here, but It's not necessarily because it is different here. A few years ago, when I landed in Wyoming, I had a pack of cigarettes that I had in my pocket. I left the airport. I light up a cigarette, and it tastes awful. I could not smoke it. And normally, when that happens, you blame the, you go somewhere and something tastes better or tastes worse. For example, beer tastes different in Netherlands than in US, Heineken, right? Same with Stella. It tastes different in Belgium and different in US and so on. And you always blame that, that place has better beer or better food or what have you, right? But sometimes it's just your taste is slightly different due to different environment. That's what I noticed with that, pack of cigarettes. It's the pack of cigarettes I brought from Georgia, right? So I smoked half of it already. So I know it's not different, but suddenly, we're in a different place, and somehow your taste buds work differently. So sometimes that's what it is. Hannibal. I really think the soldering tips is too small, too little heat transfer. Yes, sir. That's why I subsidize with the hot air. That is correct. Especially for wicking, that tip is definitely not adequate. So yes, sir, that is true. Okay, I'm gonna see over here. Yeah, see? That's the wrong hole. Which one? This one. All right. No, we don't need the screw over here. Now this is good, so we need one over here. Yeah, one over here and one over here. Yeah, I thought I had a picture. Well, I do have a picture, but slightly different unit. Did not expect that. There, and this one stays. One time, or one of the first times I was doing this, I put all the screws in and I put the plastic on and it won't sit. I can't screw it in, and that's what it was. Some of these have to be left open or it won't work. And now which one? This one goes here. Yeah, this is statistically the most forgotten screw because it's really not needed here. It's a spare screw, but you just have to remember that one screw on this side is the black plastic screw, or screw for plastic, right? Let's see. Happy birthday, Bobby Bob. Thank you, Bobby Bob. Appreciate it. Yes, I am 18. I just turned 18. Actually, after the 18th birthday, you don't really count your years or even celebrate, because who would? What for? It's just another rotation around the sun. Who cares? Well, other than maybe... Oh, hang on. No. Which one? This one here, so... So this one here. Yeah, see, we don't need a picture. We can figure it out. Let's see, where did I leave off? Happy birthday. In the JFix, in the UK, the beers are much worse. They changed the ingredients and brew the beer under license, but they don't even have to print the ingredients on the label. Even percentage alcohol is different. You mean, so like Heineken has less alcohol or more alcohol in it? Because that might be, sometimes it's the regulations of a particular country, and the certain beer sold, original beer sold in a certain country might have more alcohol than it's allowed in the country that is importing that beer, and they have to reduce it. So they're brewing under the license, but they have to reduce the octanes in the beer, otherwise they can't sell it. And in US, for example, you cannot brew anything more than 100 proof, I think, so like 50% alcohol. So whatever you're, well, not brewing, the distillation, right? So whatever you're distilling you have to ensure that it has less than 50% alcohol in it, because you cannot sell it otherwise. So sometimes this is the issue. I took apart my first PS5 the other week. I was terrified of the number of screws. Yes, sir. Yes, Rossi. That is why we charge only $50 for this. Yeah, very intuitive, huh? Yeah, it is crazy. But what are you gonna do? Now, and I think did I mess up? No, there you go. Yeah, because this one. Right, this one is not attached by itself. It attaches once you put the plastic back on, and that's when you attach it. But I think we're ready to put the plastic back on. I heard the click. There. Now let's see. Review. There. Okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. All right. Okay, now if we did all the screws correctly, that means that everything sits nicely flush. Does it? It does. Okay. So if it doesn't sit like this, that means one of the screws is in the wrong place and it won't close. It happens. And the screw over here. And there. And we get one over here. And there. Okay, what do we have? I would love a link to the thermocouple that has worked best for you. Chaz. I'll see if I can find, because it's been a while, and I think you as far as the orders stuff you ordered in the past, I think you only have access to 90 days. And I'm pretty sure I ordered it more than 90 days ago. So if I can find my exact listing, I'll send you the exact link. Otherwise, I'm just gonna send you a link of, equivalent basically. It's really not that important which thermocouple you use, as long as you use the proper type. And I think that's 400 or 600 degrees K-type. That's okay. I think we're ready for the fan. I'm thinking if I connected everything, but I think I did. Let's connect the power for the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it is. And let's place this guy over here, and there should be there. Yeah, one time I forgot about this. Again, it's gonna work without it, right? But it's a little bit, I don't know. It looks a little bit crappy, especially when someone opens it and sees that, hey, there's a missing griddle. There. Yeah, so let's just replace this since we're already here. Like this. Now with these ones, so these two go to the right over here. They're the same. These are just four screws, so these are easy to remember. The ones with the metal thread go to the right side because they screw into that aluminum plate, and the ones with the plastic, designed for plastic, go on the left, and one goes here because it's a short one, and long one goes here. So this is easy to remember, at least after a few times you messed it up, you just learn to remember stuff like that. Okay, and we have two screws over here which are holding the device together. There. And the plastic, the back. There. Well, if it, oh, that's the wrong hole. So what do we do if it doesn't work? Nothing. I mean, nothing. I'll open it again and and do it again, but I'm not gonna do it on stream. If it doesn't work, we're just gonna leave it. Oh, this is the one, right? Yeah, this is the one. There. Okay, that's all the screws. And yeah, I knew I would do that. Yeah, I often do that. So, what did I forget about? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. In Germany, we have purity law. They can't call it beer if they add any additional ingredients. Yes, the beer should have, what was it, 3 ingredients, right? So yeah, some countries are serious about their beer. German takes beer seriously. Only barley, hops, and water allowed, and sugar, right? Hops, water, sugar. I think these are the 3 ingredients. What your opinion on security torque screws? So annoying. I mean, no different than regular torque screws, right? And if you have, proper bits, then it's fine. I don't see that as a relatively big issue. What the heck? Dave's PS5, how can this be? Dave Unbranded. Hi Dave, how you doing, man? You missed HDMI action. Yes, you did. My birthday is very soon too. Happy birthday, early birthday, Dave, then. So you're a fellow Libra? Or you're a Scorpio? 1506 or something. What is that? When's your birthday, Dave? In Holland, they add turpentine and stuff to preserve it. People get sick. Turpentine. Well, and it's the dose that makes the poison. So nobody noticed what I missed? Come on, guys. I even mentioned that when I was disassembling it. See this? This little guy. It's not the first time I forgot about this one, but luckily this one it's not taking too long to replace. There, now we can replace the screws. There. Come on. Let's see. And the final piece to the puzzle. There. And now we should test it, right? We're not gonna send the what do you call it? We're not gonna send untested PS to the customer, especially since he's the also a repair shop. So that would be especially a crappy thing to do if he receives it and it doesn't work. I wouldn't want that. And oh, there you go. Alright, just needed a second, I guess. Alright, now how do we know it works? We are going to switch to second capture with camera, and it might take a few seconds to boot, but it should boot. There you go. And yeah, it's rebooting because I didn't remove the battery actually, so it shouldn't be updating firmware or anything like that, right? Or at least that would be my expectation. PlayStation, yay! Oh, What a surprise, it wasn't turned off properly. What do you know? Why would you not turn it off properly? Well, because there was no image. So people didn't know how to turn it off. Sure. Alright, let's see what we got in the chat. All proper repair technicians always reassemble before testing. That's right, Rossi. That's how we do it. 7 seconds after power plug, it gets us all. Yeah. Especially since, you know, if it doesn't work, then, you know, you're looking at the prospect of disassembling it all together, and you know, and sometimes it's just the HDMI cable, your cable that you're testing with, and it doesn't work. Oh, I had that happen to me once. Everything was done. The PlayStation was working, everything was working, but no image. And so I disassembled it. I did the port again. It still doesn't work. And then I found that the HDMI cable was broken. I looked at the socket, right, the plug, and it was busted. But I didn't know because it was working intermittently. I would recommend testing it before you put all those screws back. Well, Chaz, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I will probably get a HDMI tester, right, to just make sure before I reassemble it. But I pretty much do the same with the multimeter and tweezers, right? I check every pin whether it's solid, and then check with the multimeter whether, you know, there are bridges, right? And that usually works. Well, except one time when I didn't do it. That's why now I do it. Nowadays I do it because I learned the hard way that you don't want to disassemble and reassemble everything freaking twice. I gotta get some breakfast here in a minute. But well, job well done, or at least job done. I do a diode test before I put it back together, yeah? Then I am confident. I mean, you know, that's usually what I do, and usually it works, but it doesn't ensure everything, right? I mean, also it depends how you do it, because if you use harder to replace it, then you're risking that maybe you melted something, or I don't know, some physical damage to the port, and you reassemble it, and I don't know, and it doesn't work because the port is damaged. Multimeter is not going to find that, only visual inspection. And one time, actually, that was a few weeks ago, I had one of these for port replacement. I replaced the port, and then I inspected the original port that it came with, and I couldn't see any damage to the port. And I noticed that after because I didn't test it before, right? If I noticed that first, then I would just test it, and probably it did work. And I'm pretty sure the customer just had a faulty HDMI port. But unfortunately, I noticed that after I replaced the port. So that was a big waste of time. But that also happens, you know. Sure. Do you have HDMI breakout board? Nope. Yeah, I mean, either, yeah, they do those little testers. I have one for USB-C and Lightning, right? So they do these for HDMI as well. It just tells you the diode reading on each pin, and you know, so if there's short or no connection, then you will see that. or the breakout boards, and then you just have to use the multimeter to test it. So I have neither, because I don't do a lot of these. It's I have only one customer that actually orders this stuff from me, and he's from California, which is, I was thinking like, I give him better prices though, so it's not $50, it's more like $30 for this. But he also sends me the return label. But I was thinking like, can't you find someone closer in California, or they are too expensive? Maybe that's it. Maybe that is the problem. All right. You can power on the console safely. Well, power on or power off? You can power on the console safely with just the power button and the clamp installed. Oh, right. I did it. Yeah, so you could just place the board, because the power supply are just those two pins that just kind of plug into the power supply, and connect the front panel. And even without putting, because the heatsink on the CPU is still going to be there, it's just not going to be back plate. So you're going to save yourself at least 20 minutes or 15 minutes replacing all those screws on the aluminum plate. Sure. So yeah, you could do that. It's yeah. I mean, once I confirm that all the pins are solid and there are no bridges, then I just assume that it's going to work. And so far from this customer, the other repair shop, I've never had a console that had anything else wrong than the HDMI port, right? So usually it's a known customer. Now if it was PlayStation 5 that just doesn't work, doesn't power on or something like that, then I would probably also test and I noticed that the port needs to be replaced. I would replace the port and probably would boot it while to having access to the board. Sure. PS5 will last all day sitting in the dashboard with no fan just fine. Yeah. Use your flux today. Yes, Dave. Well, you can rewind the stream. Yes, my flux actually performed really well. So my latest batch, it's still NC. It's not corrosive, and it worked really well. I just kept the board relatively hot, and both wicking and tinning worked perfectly fine. I think last time, I don't know why it didn't work last time, and I had to use Kingbo flux. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but I think it was just maybe a matter of temperature, and I don't remember. I think I was using T210 handle instead of 245, so maybe that was also the difference. And maybe because I was the temperature I got set over here right now, oh, you don't know, is 385, right? So it's a little higher than I normally use. Typically it's 380 that I use, or 375 for tinning, because then the solder holds a lot better to the tip, right? But I don't know, this time my flux worked perfectly fine. I didn't use any other components other than my flux. Yeah, rewind the stream and see for yourself. I was actually surprised how well it went, especially since on the stream it's a little bit harder to do it on the stream, because Murphy's law, what everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and in this case nothing really went wrong. But I did test a new procedure by tinning the pads and then not even putting more solder on it, just soldering on the pins. That worked a lot better. So that's the technique I'm going to be using nowadays, from now on. Maybe I'll figure out how to do it, heating it from the back, because that would be even easier. But on the one hand, it's easier because you heat up the board and you just place the port and it just drops and we good, right? You could probably do it on the BGA station as well. But the execution is a lot more difficult because now the board needs to be sitting somehow so we have access to the bottom, right? So I'm thinking on the edge of the desk, right? It needs to be stable, right? If I had something to actually mount it to, so it's nice and stable, then yeah, maybe. So it's a little bit more of a hassle to actually execute properly, right? But yeah, maybe that's better. But I would have to figure that out. All right. Now, how do we turn it off? How do you turn it off? Do I just press the button? No. I would click, yeah, putting your PS5 into rest mode. Oh, that sucks. So now it is, when I disconnect the cable, it will still say that it hasn't been disconnected properly, right? Well, I have controllers, but typically I don't go into the customer devices, meaning I don't go past that screen or the home screen or whatever. Well, sometimes I just take a look at what games you got. But I'm no player, so I don't really care. Alright, so this is done. Another $30. I mean, if I had a lot of these, I wouldn't mind, if I had a whole stack of these. But it is, couple hours. It kind of depends. If everything goes well, you might be able to do it like in an hour, maybe. If I had a lot more of these, I would probably take a little less than 2 hours. But if it takes you 2 hours, then you're making $15 an hour. Not the best money. But any money is good. Alejandro, happy birthday again. I have to go to work night shift today. Have a nice day. Have a nice one, guys. Thank you, Alejandro. Have a great shift. Stay safe. And I'll see you the next time. Let's see, Dave. I like to get a picture of the home screen just to prove it works. Then I send in the text. Well, I proved that it works on the stream. I don't think anyone would think differently. But again, I did so many jobs for this customer that I wouldn't worry about it. There's never been a problem before, so that's why he keeps sending them to me, because I'm cheap and reliable. So far, every single port replacement was a success. Sometimes a little bit more hassle. Sometimes I had to do it twice because of the bridges and stuff like that, but Rossi, what else you got for us today? CPU socket? No, I got everything done. Did the ECM repair earlier today, and just this PS5, and that's all I had in my queue at the moment. I'm waiting on one more ECM, and I'm waiting on B2600 ECM Mazda for recapping and stuff. Actually, I sent a link to the listing to the customer, but he never made a purchase. So I don't know if he changed his mind, or I don't know, or maybe he'll send it anyways. Then no problem. I'll just send you a direct payment link, the Stripe Stripe link. Dave, unbranded, what a ridiculous price. Yeah, it's a little low. Yeah. Arnold, I'm doing a BIOS. All right. You got Lead Farmers support, hopefully. By the way, where is Lead Farmer? I haven't seen anything from Lead Farmer. So you are okay with him charging 150 and you get 30? I don't know if he charges 150. If he does, then good for him. What are you gonna do? Am I good with that? Well, I don't know. Initially, because he sent me one PS5, then another PS5, then the third one. When he sent the third one, I asked him, like, are you doing that for yourself, or are you a repair shop? And he said something to the effect that he's got a lot of cousins and stuff like that. So no, meaning no, I'm not a repair shop. And the reason I was asking was that, if you're a repair shop, then you get better prices in my shop as a repair shop than you would as an individual, because we have to stick together. But I think he thought that if I knew that he's a repair shop, I would charge him more. But usually it goes the other way, right? And so now I do know that he's a repair shop, because throughout our cooperation, a few times he said something about the customers, and last time that wasn't the last time, but when I had this one with a HDMI port that was pretty much good, I told him that, tell your customer that probably it was the HDMI cable, not the port. But I didn't test beforehand, because I never do. I didn't even do the visual inspection, because usually I do take a look at the port, what it looks like, right? And sometimes it's just a minor damage, just the pins slightly misaligned or slightly ripped, and if you plug it in and just kind of move it around a little bit, you will catch it, right? And it will work, but it's just unreliable. But on that one I didn't. You should raise your price just a bit, in my opinion, Rassi. Yeah, I've been raising prices lately, because I don't have a job at the moment, and I'm gonna have to apply for unemployment soon, so I can pay the rent. So I've been raising prices a little bit here and there, $5 here, $10 there. But my prices are, compared to the level of service that I provide, I think they're fair prices, right? I'm not too gifted, or I don't do things that no one else does, maybe other than socket replacements. But with socket replacements, I don't provide any, anything other than just replacing the socket, right? It's just a socket replacement service, and I don't guarantee that it will work. Either I won't be able to get the sockets aligned, or the board will, bubble or break or something like that. Although that never happens anymore, but it used to. Or sometimes, the board just plainly doesn't work after the replacement, and we don't know why. And no refunds. No, nothing like that, right? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Worth a try. It's $50, $55 now. So for that reason, if I charged $250 for the socket replacement, then you would expect that you get the board back and it works, right? It's been tested and everything, but I don't have the ability to provide such service. That's why it's cheap, right? So it kind of depends on what you provide, right? The same with the last CPU swap I did. I actually ended up not charging at all for it, but I gave the quote of $50. Bring it in. The CPU was rebuilt already, so just remove the old one, clean the pods, put the CPU on, heat it up, and it's done. $50, but I don't care if it works or not, right? So that's why the price is cheap. But if you give a comprehensive service, then you can charge more. I mean, the best money makers are simple repairs where no one else touched the laptop. It just stopped working. You open it, you find shorted MOSFET or cap or what have you. You replace it. You turn on the laptop works. Maybe you give it a quick test or something like that, and you ship it back, and and you charge $150, $200, $250. These are the money makers, but I don't get such boards for some reason. When I get laptops, it's usually 6 other technicians already looked at it, and and it's a hassle. I remember that one from Sandeep, that I think they were injecting voltage, and they injected like high voltage to the rails, and the 2 rails completely shorted between one another, and I don't remember. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but I gave up after like an hour or hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't remember. Just removing component after component, and as you remove this one shorted component, it's still short, so you inject again, the other thing gets warm, so you remove that, the other thing gets warm, and it was just half the board was shorted. It was crazy job. What do we have? Yeah, people charge over $100 easily for PS5 HDMI. Well, I wouldn't mind charging $100 for this. Has a home tech, likely on Craigslist or something. Competence on Latitude 5420 done. Oh, nice. The BIOS job. Nice. Was it password locked? Remember to remove the remote. What was it called? Basically, you gotta clear one section of the binary, so your laptop doesn't get locked. But last time we did that, and the lock returned on the laptop. The computer updated. It updated firmware, meaning it flashed the new BIOS, and the lock came back. But that was actually curious, because it displayed the screen before the login screen to Windows. It displayed the screen saying that this device belongs to whatever. Here's the phone number. Please return the device, something like that. And before I could take a picture of it, because I wanted to take a picture, send it to Lead Farmer, before I could, it disappeared. And I logged into Windows and restarted a few times. I went to BIOS. Everything works. So I don't know. It just kind of like what I was thinking, that perhaps it did reach out to the server saying that, hey, I'm the computer that belongs to you, and I probably got stolen. And the server responded with, no, we threw you out. You're good. Right, and just disabled that lock remotely. I don't know if that's how it works, but that's what it seemed like. Let's see. We just don't want you to get taken advantage of, Raf. Thank you, Russi. I mean, you gotta pay your dues before you start making money. Sometimes you gotta do jobs for next to no money to start charging some money. So the same with the socket replacements. Technically, I don't make money because it's $50 shipping included, right? Socket included, electricity, solder, flux, wicks, tips, everything. So when you calculate that, I don't make a dime on it, right? The socket cost me $5, the shipping cost me $15, plus electricity, wick, and solder, and all that. So maybe I'll make $5 on the socket replacement, but first of all, I'm gaining proficiency. Now I do these sockets now a lot easier than it used to be. I get a lot better success rate now, and it promotes my software, right? So, perhaps I'm not making money on it, but it's more like a long-term strategy, right? So sometimes it's more about that than making money right now. I need to make an order of the most common chips and start selling BIOS ready to solder. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that could work. Although, yeah, it kind of depends who your customer is, right? You should change what you think your time is worth, and if it's truly something you love doing and don't really see as work, making as much money as possible is not as important for you. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, normally I would have a full-time job and do it, do it just after work and on Sundays and, the weekends and days off. But now, it doesn't look like I'm gonna find a job anytime soon in this market. So, I need to spend more time on the shop. So, again, I can drop the prices so I can get more business. More business attracts more business, and that's usually how it goes. If you start from really high prices, but you don't really have a track record, then I'm not sure. I'm not as good as business as I am in software engineering and stuff. Where did I leave off? You could dual chipset board was fun enough. Yeah, it was. All you need to do is do mobile gaming console repair. You would make 300 to 400 a day. Just have to actually charge what you are worth. I mean, I did that OLED recently. I still haven't received the HDMI port or the USB-C port. I wrote the guys because they said it can take up to 2 weeks to be delivered because they're drop shipping most likely. But I never received it, so they just gave me a refund. So, it's like $8 or something. So, yeah, I appreciate the refund, but I need a port because the customer's been waiting for over 2 weeks now. So that kind of sucks. But I don't normally do these, so I don't have that stuff in stock. I do have PlayStation 4 and 5 HDMI ports, sure, but no USB-Cs. Raise price to 60 and post something like over 40 PS5 repaired with video out. Yeah, that's a good idea. I might do that. 135 here, and I am cheaper than anyone around here. Nice, Dave. $135 for, you may as well just send them to me. I'll do it for 50. I think you don't get work because you are too cheap. People are scared. Oh, interesting. So you think I would get more business if I raise the prices? Well, one way to find out, right? The log returned because it had a remote update, but seemed they released it. Well, I did disable remote update, or at least as far as I know. Maybe we forgot. Who knows? Maybe that was the problem. But yeah, it seems like they just released it. Putty. For $60, I do the socket replacement with 100% success rate and testing if you send it to Poland. Yeah, but $60 in Poland goes a long way. And now $60 in US won't even get you groceries for one day. So yeah, so I can understand you can do it for $60 in Poland with testing and everything. Nice. Are you using my software? Raised my price and made more customers. Well, okay, so that was your experience. I mean, in some cases, you have to be aware that some things can be unrelated. You know, I've done a lot of stuff that I thought was related back in the day, but it was just coincidence. So maybe you got more customers not because you raised your prices, but you just got more customers. And you raised your prices. Who knows? Once it checked in remotely, it got removed from MDM. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay. Hey Arnold, does he know who you are? Well, it's Arnold. What else do I need to know? Okay. I'm a lead farmer. Waves AR-15s. Okay, that's not exactly the lead I was thinking of, but okay. You need to understand that people's mentality, they are not sending work to you being too cheap or the type of clients you really don't want. Right, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, I've had, for my ECM repairs, I've had some feedback that, yeah, the repair is worth it and the guy does a good job, but he's a bit pricey. And I was thinking, well, the $160 for an ECM repair, that if you want it repaired at the dealership, you would pay anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000, right? I see that as a super low price. I guess it's the perception as well. Your equipment isn't cheap. You have to charge for your time, skill, and tools. Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. Tell that to your bill collectors. Right. Yeah, I can't pay my rent with passion. That's true. I want to pay it with unemployment money. People don't trust often the cheapest. Take pick of manage HDMI ports after replace and post. I think we are all in favor of you making more money. Well, I'm really appreciate that. Maybe now I will. Don't drop. Divert more. Hit up USA Tech YouTubers like Salazar and such, and that they don't repair. Right. Oh, advert, not divert. Okay, advert. So advertise basically. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Cyber CPU tech guy and solve whatever. Hit up their stream or Discord. Not many socket replacers in USA. Yeah, that's why I do it also, because there's virtually no competition. There was one shop in Massachusetts that was doing that for a while, and they stopped doing it. But they didn't have a fixed price like I do, like any board and a socket, pretty much. and that was like 50 or $100. You send the board in, and they give you a quote, right? And that $100 you don't get back, even if they say that they can't replace it. But yeah, with the success rate, it's kind of crappy, because even through no fault of your own, the board doesn't want to work after the replacement, even though the socket was replaced properly and it works correctly, but for some reason the board doesn't work, and they're gonna blame the socket replacement. And in addition, sometimes you have to you get the board with mangled pins or busted socket essentially, so you can't really test it to confirm that the socket is the only problem on the board. So what do? You replace the socket, the board doesn't work, and the customer says, well, it worked before. Yeah, but how do I know that? That's why my price is cheap, but no guarantee, no nothing, right? You could ask for 70 easy and get more respect. You mean the socket replacement? 70 for the socket replacement, or HDMI port? Helps to be on Google too, and good reviews. True. I know, Dave, you're on Google businesses, and you have great reviews. So yeah, I know that helps you. But I have, I'm renting an apartment, so I don't want to put this address on Google. Since I'll at some point I'm going to be moving anyway. So yes, Google Maps, find your shop and make review and claim shop. Yeah. What does the eBay software do? Well, it's an automation tool, basically, primarily made for automation. So you set it up, and as soon as the order comes in, you define an automation. So maybe you want to run some application to, like in my case, to generate a license for the customer and send an email that, hey, here's your license, right? That way I don't have to participate in the process, because right now I have to, for Rework Pro, I have to generate the license every time the order comes in, partially manually, right? I improved the process a lot, but it's not fully automated yet. But for this eBay software, everything is going to be automated. So you make a purchase, the order comes in, the software picks it up and executes the automation as you defined it. You can also list create listings from the application. You can modify listings, you can close them, you can send messages, you can flag the orders, so you can define flags and put the flag on orders, whatever flags you define, and then you can create an automation that will respond to you putting flags. So if you flag some order with say this flag, you want something to happen, that I don't know, some email sent to the customer, right? It's specifically catered to repair shops. So if the order comes in, you have a flag that says item received. So as soon as you receive it, you find that order in the software, you put the flag, and the software sends the update to the customer that, hey, we received your item. And stuff like that, like mass, you select the directory, and in that directory you have subdirectories that are supposed to be listings, and the software picks up all the pictures and descriptions and stuff like that, and lists it on in bulk, right? So you don't have to actually list them. You just create the directories with all the info you want on the listings, and then just hit one button, and all of that is sent to eBay. That kind of stuff. It should be pretty useful. Let's see. Are you in automotive forums, Facebook, to get ECM business? I usually, it's referrals. I know some people just refer me through those like Facebook groups and stuff like that. I'm not their myself, but yeah, this is part of how I get my business for ECM repairs. Yeah. um, you have Nathan that can send you some business too. Seems that he was on board yesterday. Well, I would definitely take it. I have a lot of time now. I can do some work. Yeah. Yeah, Nathan wants to start getting CPUs and GPUs replaced. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna be working on the board. Maybe tomorrow. The CPU swap. Oh no, I won't, because yeah, I thought I received the stencils, but it's gonna be end of this month before I receive the stencils. So, Dave, you're on Apple Maps too. Nice, nice. You're dominating this market, brother. You would need to get a small office, probably. I would, yes, yes. I even looked at the offices. Pretty close. It's almost well, to me it's a walking distance, but not in American standards. It's like a mile away. They're not too big, but I could make it work. You would need the goods. Yeah, I remember Turbo Lister. I don't think that exists anymore. Yeah, there are a few competitor applications. I don't know how they work, and this is one of the those applications that if you buy something like that, you need to get the support. So it's always going to be a subscription model, because it takes time and effort to maintain such applications, so it works with eBay API, because they change a lot of stuff often, and sometimes it's a hassle to keep it working, because they move stuff around for different reasons. Do you have universal stencil yet? No, I ordered like a whole bunch of stencils for a whole bunch of different CPUs. The solder balls 0.35. I actually prefer solder paste. Nothing wrong with solder balls, but I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. I prefer the paste. I run a Corvette group, C4 OBD1. They have been asking for ECM repair. I am giving your name out. Thank you so much, Dave. Much appreciated. Do you still offer the OWN overlay? It's a free software. It's in the description of every one of my video. There's a link. Just click the link, download it, and it's free. I don't make any money off of that. How long have we been live? 3 hours and 9 minutes. That's not bad. It's not bad. And we made $30. So that's like $10 an hour almost. Yeah, that's my business sense. That's my skills making business. But eventually I'm gonna have to learn how to make better business. But in all fairness, the one of the reasons Apple became so popular and expensive and stuff, because Jobs was under the impression, or is firmly believing, that if you have a great product, the stock price will follow, the money will follow. But first you need to have a great product. And I think of it pretty much the same way. If I do a good job, if I provide good services, then eventually money will show up somehow. Now Apple, it just relies primarily on the stock price, and they only care about the stock price, so they don't deliver good products anymore. And in fact, the quality of their products is lower than cheap Chinese stuff even. So but all they care about is that stock price, and it's doing good because they're doing some manipulations, some steps to make money, not good products. But eventually, I think Apple is going to go away if they don't change anything, if they don't start actually inventing some stuff, right? But yeah, that's what I think as well. Just do a great job, and the money will come eventually somehow. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it's got to happen somehow, right? At least that's what I think. I might be wrong, so I guess we'll see. If I have to move into the trailer anytime soon, then you will know that I was not right. I didn't know what I was talking about. But on the off chance, we'll see. For now, I just want to do good work, provide good product, and that's both for my software products and the repairs that I offer. Right. What's your PayPal? Same as email? Well, no. No, it's not the same as email. But what I use is is Stripe, and I have a. Let me see. I should have a tab already opened here. Why not? So usually what I do, I have a link that is what do you call it? And a tip, right? So if I provide a service, and maybe I'm not necessarily happy with the service I provided, or I did something, but the computer still doesn't work, right? So I did my job. I did what I promised I would do, but the computer still doesn't work. I usually don't want to charge the customer. So what I do is I just ship the device back, and I send this link, which is a tip, and the customer can just put whatever they want. Whatever amount they want. So if you feel like I provided the service for $50, then you pay $50, right? If you feel like no, I'm not giving you a tip, that's fine too, right? Yeah, just a tip. Just a tip, Dave. Let's see. Apple figured out a new model every year keeps stock price up. Yeah. Every Apple phone looks the same. True, and I don't. It's not even that. They used to be. They always been relatively hard in repair. Well, maybe not always, because I remember the iPhone 5 and 6. Those were battery replacements and screen replacements, other than the home button, right? But you could argue that was a security concern, sure. But you could repair a lot of stuff. But then they developed all that pairing of the components, right? But it was still the hardware was superior to the competition, so it kind of made sense. So you get a less repairable device but higher quality device. It makes sense. But nowadays, if you get Apple device, you get lower quality device, more expensive device, and less repairable device. So it's like I have no reason to buy anything Apple, other than my wife just liking the the Apple devices and stuff. But still, I don't buy anything new. If I bought a what was it? A little computer, a little mobile computer. What are they called? It's not a tablet because it's with the keyboard and stuff. No touch screen, no nothing. Because it has nice little apple that someone already took a bite out of, and that's what my wife likes. So But I spent like $100 on it, right? Actually, that was pretty good deal. Stripe, Gremlins. Oh, I just sent you a tip. Just a tip. Thank you, Dave. Much appreciated. Almost a PS5 port. Oh, damn, you're generous today. Thank you, Dave. My wife and kids are on Apple. Horrible hardware. Yes, sir. Completely agree. I saw Soren had issue with brand new iPhone camera. It was lowering bitrate when recording. Yeah, again, they don't really put much, they don't invest much in innovation and quality anymore because it's all about the stock price. So yeah, they will most likely, either they will just stop doing hardware altogether, right? They're gonna stop doing phones because they're not making much money off of that. And they're just gonna shift to financial products because they have those some financial products like the credit cards and stuff like that, right? They'll most likely just shift into that. It's predatory. It's more lucrative. You definitely make more money on that, and it's a simple business model, right? You just let people make bad decisions, and you kind of aid them in the process of making bad decisions. You just kind of hope they will ruin their life financially, and that's going to be your retirement. That's, they say, business is business, but I think you can be a businessman, you can do business, right, and still be ethical, high, have your morality, your character in place, or your heart in the right place. You don't have to be a douchebag to be a successful business. That's what I think. I need to find door handle for some Subaru Legacy 06 passenger. Easy. Yeah. Need to look into the Jeep TCM repairs. 2020 has a flaw. Oh, well, if you have a tip on that, let me know. I'm always happy to jump on the new services. Recently, I listed a VATS removal and a vehicle anti-theft lock from the ECMs. I listed it. So far, nothing. I mean, the one customer asked me for it, right? And I had to find out how to do it and what to do and stuff. The target price or the price at the moment is $350 for that. But to actually do it, I have to pay $200 to get it done. And the guy that gets that done for me, he has to spend $100 on tokens alone to actually do it, because you can't do it without the manufacturer's access. So new TCM is 4,500. Yeah, that's why those ECM, I don't know why someone said that my services are a bit pricey. I think only one person gave me that feedback. That was on the eBay listing. Like, it's a little pricey, but no, it's, if you compare it to either the repair at the dealership or you want to just replace the ECM, then you're looking into $200 at least, if not 500 for cloning or programming, and the ECM replacement anywhere from $45 to $700, right? So no, I don't think my repairs are expensive. I actually repaired a Dodge TIPM. What's TIPM? Tire pressure sensor. Seems to be a common issue. Relays. Oh, I think I know which board you're referring to. The reason it's a common issue is because it's a design issue. They used a chip, the output stage, to control the relays, but there's no reverse polarity diode. So once the relay clicks, right, opens and closes, you have back voltage, right? The reverse polarity voltage that needs to be dissipated somewhere. And where is it dissipated? On the chip, because there's no reverse polarity diode in the chip. So you can keep getting those and just keep replacing that chip, that output stage, and that's a good business. But more ethically, you can just literally add those diodes to the relays, and the problem goes away permanently, because it's a plain design problem. They just didn't design the board properly, and most likely they probably wanted to use a different chip to control those relays, but they had to settle for the chip without the reverse diode, and that's why it keeps breaking. I mean, again, good business, but I would just add those diodes and no more problems, There is always someone that wants it free. Price for shipping. LOL. Yeah. Totally integrated power module. Yeah. Yeah, you can find some of these. What do you call it? Well, just like with my, IC608 repairs, right? I identified the problem, I found the solution, and listed it, and that's been keeping my shop alive. I did hundreds of them at this point, right? And actually, the one that I did today was the one that I did 3 years ago, and the problem came back after 3 years. But I think it's not going to come back now, because I improved my technique a lot now. So, alrighty, almost 2 o'clock. We had 3.5 hours. Just another ways that you can build up clients. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start making something happen, because I think if I don't make something happen for myself, then I'm not gonna be able to find work easily nowadays. Especially since it's kind of weird, because the last one I didn't get. It's basically because I have too much knowledge. That's the feedback I get. Yeah, it seems ridiculous, and yes, it is ridiculous, but that's kind of what they're looking for. They want very specific things and nothing beyond that. So Java with, I don't know, GCP and or AWS. But if you know DigitalOcean and you're versed in electronics and you also do .NET and PHP and DI and infrastructure management and stuff like that, then they stay away. They stay away from you, because now you're not what we're looking for. Basically, that's how I read it. So they want a very specific person, right? So it's kind of like they prefer you don't have broad experience and broad knowledge. You must know this and nothing beyond that, because that's bad for some reason. So that's why I think that I'm gonna have an issue finding a job, because I've been in this business for decades. So yeah, it's I can't even dumb down my resume. I mean, I could try, but I hear that's not very good either, because it's gonna hurt you in the long run, right? So if you're just desperate to get a job now, say you want you know, some mid-level or junior engineer, something like that. So you dumb down your resume, would leave just one company that you worked for, or maybe, I don't know, something, and that matches, right, with the company, you know, then you have this weird job on your resume, and I know, good luck finding a senior engineering position after that. I don't know. But I don't know, maybe I should just go more into a product or something like that. But I hear it's even worse. You know, a friend of mine took a year to find the product manager, to find the job. And he found a job in sales, not even in product management. The labor gains, he's been out of a job since January 24th, 2024. So it's going to be 2 years in a few months. So yeah, the job market is not pretty out there. What's up, Arlo? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come, show your face. No, don't be scared. Yeah, we're gonna walk. We're gonna walk in a second. I gotta take the dog for a walk. I got too much stuff on the desk over here. But I think we're gonna we're gonna end the stream, because it's been a while, and I have to eat some breakfast, because it's 2 o'clock. In 20 minutes I gotta pick up my boy. So I need to eat something so I don't collapse, I guess. And I only had 1 coffee today. It's weird day today, you know. And I don't even feel very hungry anyways. All right, well, thank you guys very much for joining me. I guess we're gonna start making more of these. Thank you so much for all your birthday wishes. Best birthday ever. Absolutely no questions. And yeah, I think that'll do. All right. If you guys want to ice cream stop with kid, oh yeah. Now we're gonna probably do a gas station hot dog stop. I could use a hot dog from the gas station. And I gotta cook something, because my wife's at work. She gets off at 4 o'clock, so he's gonna be hungry when he comes in. So I gotta cook something. I'm gonna do some lava chicken, his favorite. Papa makes the best lava chicken, or at least that's what Papa says, and my son just agrees, because he's nice. Alrighty, thank you guys again. Awesome that you joined me today, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. Maybe we'll do some BGA next time. What do you think? Either BGA, or we'll find something else. Maybe something a little simpler than BGA. But yeah. Alrighty. Thank you guys, and thank you again for best wishes, and I shall see you guys in the next one.